Hi, everybody. Welcome to Monday's Anti-Hustle Business Training inside the Reclaim Your Wild Business Coaching with Shannon Whaley Facebook group. Lots of words. I am Shannon Whaley. I'm an anti-hustle business coach, and I help my clients build, grow, and scale their coaching and service-based businesses in a way that just feels really good, that doesn't burn them out, that allows them to actually enjoy the money that they're making, and is a business that they're proud of. And I've been doing this for 8 years, and I plan to do it for many more years. And so I will be here every Monday in my Facebook group to give you the business training that allows you to build your business in this way. So I am talking today about the top 3 things that you want to be focusing on in the front end of your business and in the back end of your business. I will say this, that it's difficult for me to know where the leak is in your business without me actually being in your business. So these are just suggestions, right? Based on what I've seen with my clients, with the people who have joined the mastermind, my one-on-one clients, and all of those experiences I've had with my own clients, that in general, these are the things that you want to be focusing on. And once we're working together, if you want to join the mastermind, there are still some spots available. So send me a message if you want to know like where you would fit in, like which pod you'll fit in. But these are the things that we're going to be working on so that you can have daily targeted activities. You know what you're doing, you know what to do every day to show up and how to focus on your business. It's not just throw spaghetti at the wall. That works until it doesn't anymore. And if you are in your business for the long haul, which I hope that everybody is, then you have to start having some more strategy. You have to start having more structure in your business. And so this is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about what to focus on in the front end of your business in order to get things streamlined and just really feeling good and making sense on the front end of things, and then what to be focusing on in the back end of your business. And all of these things coupled together on top of mindset, embodiment, the emotional regulation piece, and really getting your thoughts down. All of this builds on top of one another to help you have more profitable months, the programs that make sense, that lead into one another, all of the things. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me know again if you are watching live or if you're watching the replay, and go ahead and put any questions that you might have. If you're in the Facebook group, go ahead and put any questions that you might have in the comments, and I will check on them and answer them periodically as we go. But I have a tendency to get distracted, so I typically stay on topic with my outline, and then I will come back. So don't get upset if I'm not answering your questions immediately, but I'll come back and look at them. So the top 3 things to focus on in the front end of your business. So this is all the marketing piece and the not the techie stuff in the background. So the first thing that you should really be focusing on is targeted marketing and lead generation. So you really need to understand who your target market is, who your ideal client is for the specific program that you're selling. We all have businesses where we have like an overarching demographic, right? So I work with coaches and service providers who want to have more ease and flow in their business. They want to feel better and more regulated in their businesses. They want to have more profit. They want to raise their rates, right? So like, this is just like a general outline or a general like idea of the demographic that I work with. Each program that I create has different demographics. So the demographic for business school is much different than the demographic from the mastermind, which is a different demographic from one-on-one. And so your job is to really understand who each program is for and how to speak directly to that person so that you can reach the most people to bring them into that program. This is one thing that a lot of people struggle with, is really narrowing down who they're talking to so it's really clear to their audience that this is the program that I need. I definitely they're hitting on all of the points. They understand what I'm struggling with. They understand what I want to have. They're seeing that your program is going to help them get the results that they're looking for. If your message is too broad, if you're touching on too big of the demographic and it's not narrowing in on the person that this specific program is for, it's not a compelling message. It's kind of weak. It's not really getting specific about results or what they're going to get or how they're going to get or anything like that. It's going to be too broad and they're not going to understand that it's for them. So you really want to be understanding how to do this for each of your programs. So you can get more information from people, whether you're going to be doing free calls or you're paying attention to what your clients are talking about and asking questions about, and then creating programs around that. This is also why I recommend everyone starts with one-on-one so that they can get more information. You're getting paid to basically get market research, right? You start to pay attention to what your one-on-one clients are coming to the calls with. And if you're noticing, which I feel like we all do, you notice a pattern, you notice that they're all asking the same questions, that you're repeating yourself, that is an indication of something that you might want to create. So if you realize that you're having the same conversation over and over again, you either have a podcast episode up your sleeve, you have a workshop or like an intensive that you can create, or you can create a whole brand new program. I created Biz School out of what my one-on-one clients were coming to me for. That's how I created, and I've been running that program for fucking years now, right? So that is one strategy, one really easy way to get information to start building other programs that make sense and lead into one another. Using social media. So really knowing how to leverage social media, being able to connect people. So this is telling your story, sharing results, talking about what you've gone through. This is like the content marketing piece. It's all the same. And so really showing up consistently and powerfully and understanding what that looks like and means for you, telling more of your story, figuring out who you are. How do we turn the volume up on you? And so that is how you get this really targeted, strong, potent message. So the second piece that you want to be focusing on is having an effective sales funnel. And so what I mean by this is that you want to have programs that lead into one another and that make sense, that don't just like drop your people off and leave them hanging out, right? This is a different conversation than if you're just starting out. So this is more for the people who would be joining like the expansion pod of the mastermind. This is something that you have to be okay doing when you're first getting started, because you just don't have the capacity or the bandwidth or the team or the skills yet, right, to be having multiple programs. But if you're getting to the point where you have one-on-one, you're ready to launch a group program, or maybe you have a program and you want to be adding in an extra one, you want to make sure that the programs that you're creating make sense within your sales funnel, that it's not just going to drop them off, like I said, and just like nothing to sell them into or no way to support them or continue supporting them. So what we do in the mastermind, as we're also, and I talk to the essential pod. So the two different pods, there's a pod for those coaches or service providers who are making 0 to 5K a month. And then the other one is for 5 and moving into like upwards of 10 and 15K a month. One thing that I encourage, no matter what pod you're in, is to really start thinking about your business in this way. So even if you're not ready to launch a group program yet, you want to be thinking forward about the business that you want to be creating. So I want to encourage all of my clients and you, clients, community members, to start thinking forward about the business that you want to be creating and the business model or the sales funnel. It's the same thing that you can start to see and think about what you're building instead of just kind of like throwing this out there, doing this thing, throwing this other thing out there. We want to be a bit more strategic. This is going to help you with your launches. It's going to help you know and give you a roadmap as to where you're going. So if you start to think, okay, I have one-on-one, that's the first part of my funnel. And then you realize, I'll just use me, right? So I was doing one-on-one, I was a marketing coach and helping people build their businesses. And I was getting a lot of the same, like people didn't know how to set up their LLCs. People didn't know how to set up their bank accounts. There were some just really like basic business things that they were coming to me to try to make more money, but they didn't actually have their businesses set up. So I realized I need to create a program that gets them started in their business, that teaches them how to set up their money and their accounts, that teaches them how to actually form the business, form the programs, and then we'll work together one-on-one. So that's what I mean by things lead into one another. Now at this point, I have multiple group programs that make sense for each other. And that if you're not ready for the mastermind, or if you're not ready for one-on-one, you can bounce around to these different group coaching programs to get support, to build your business, to make money, so that then when you are ready, you can join the mastermind. So really start to think about how you can implement that in your own business. And this isn't to like stress you out or make you start thinking like, oh, I got to be putting these things together. Slow and steady wins the race. So I encourage my clients to be thinking out a year ahead, 2 years, 3 years ahead, right? So if you have an idea for programs, you can launch it, get it out there, create the product, create the content, learn how to launch it, and then the following year, then you would layer on another program. So this is where it takes time, right? You're slowly building out your funnel, you're slowly building out your product suite. But if you're trying to do this really fast and it's all brand new stuff, that's a real fast way, unless you have like a magical team and you have a copywriter and you don't have children or a partner, right? Like if it's just you and you just like power through shit and that's how you want to do it, fine, do it that way. If you want things to feel a bit more strategic, where you're not panicked, you're not just like throwing things out there, then this is the anti-hustle way that I prefer and that I teach my clients. So as you start to think about your product suite, each product suite is going to have its own, or like each product or program is going to have its own funnel to it, right? So maybe you create like an opt-in, or you create some sort of freebie that would bring people into the event or the program that you are selling. So this, I feel like I don't want to get like too involved or too ahead, but this is where you want to be starting to think more strategically about your business. This is obviously going to be easier if you have a team. This is something that gets more complicated, right? As you start to grow your business, you start to have different funnels for each of the programs. But I will also say this, as you get into the expansion pod, as you start making money, you can hire people to help you. So if you're getting overwhelmed, if maybe you're not there yet, just know that when you get up to these levels, you're hiring people who this is their zone of genius. So don't think that you have to figure this all out yourself. Don't think that I got to know how to do all of these things and I have to do the opt-in, I have to do all this. When you get to that point, you're going to have the people, you're going to have the money. And so this all does start to make more sense as you start to increase your income. You start to learn more skills and you start to really think as a business owner and as a CEO And it just all starts to click and make sense. Plus, it helps if you're in the mastermind or if you're working with me. This is my zone of genius. This is how I help my clients. This is exactly what we'll be doing in the mastermind, is really helping you figure out what your sales funnel looks like, what your business model looks like, how to implement effective like email campaigns and what that looks like, and how to automate your systems to really nurture leads and do all of these things. But it's a process. So the third piece of what to be focusing on in the front end of your business to be on track to hit 6 figures is to really build a personal, like a strong personal brand. And so this is just so important for you to really do the personal work. This is where all of that shadow work comes in, the visibility wounds start to pop up, right? Because your job is to literally show up more as you. And if you don't know who that is, or you're still working through that, which is totally fine. I feel like we're always figuring out who we are. But this is where the vulnerability comes in, and the willingness to do it messy and do it scared, and to just like do it and figure it out along the way. This is where all of that comes in. So really knowing who you're talking to, really doing the mindset work, and trusting that your people will find you, that they love your weird, they love your quirkiness, they love the stories that you're telling. And this is really what's going to set you apart from everybody else. There's a bunch of business coaches and they have like lots of different themes, right? So there's pleasure-based and anti-hustle, and there's this kind of business coach and that kind of business coach, right? But what sets me apart is my stories, how I do it, the way that I do it, how I talk, my vibe, my energy. I live in Italy. I travel around the world, and this is just my life, right? And so that's what people are going to be drawn to when they find you. They're going to love your stories. They're going to love how you live your life. They love following you along on your adventures, or maybe you don't have adventures. You just hang out at home with the kids and the cats, and maybe you have a goat or whatever, right? But your people are going to love that about you. So this is really important to lean into this and to know how to turn the volume on you all the way up, because that is what's going to get you hired. And it doesn't mean that you have to show up naked on the internet. It doesn't mean that you have to show up a certain way, or you have to look a certain way, or dress a certain way, or have the fancy graphics that you're seeing in the industry, or the pictures at the Eiffel Tower, right? It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you have to find your flavor. And when you embody that, that's when you become magnetic. When you're just living your essence and you're just showing up as you in your full glory. Now that might be like half naked on the internet, and that might be fully buttoned up and what like more conservative, right? But it's not about you looking a certain way or doing anything like that is going to get you hired. It's just more about you being more you and doing what you do best, which is just sharing your stories and showing up as you and showing up real. And people love, love, love the real piece. The storytelling piece, showing up on social media, leveraging social testimonials, sharing your case studies. So all of this is really going to help you build your authority, and it's going to help you stand out from the crowd, because there's a lot of health coaches, relationship coaches, business coaches, right? But what's going to help you stand out is your personal brand. So those are the top 3 things that you want to be focusing on in the front end of your business. And I want to check if there's any comments, let me know. Happy to answer them for you. And I don't see any, so that's fine. But let me know if anything comes up, happy to answer them for you. So now on the back end of your business, and I'm just going to, oh, no. Live now, come join us. Cool. Hi, Caroline. I'm not sure if you're still here, but I just saw you pop up. So okay, back end of your business. So one of the things that you really want to be focusing on is customer retention and relationship building. So it is so much easier to sell from people who you've built the trust, they know the work that you do, they trust you and believe in you, and you have built that relationship with them. So really educating your clients on the importance of working with you, of sticking with you, of like how you've created programs to support them along their journey. So one thing that I've really been talking about with my clients, and you want to be doing this like while you're working with them in the program, is like, what's next? How can they keep working with you? How can they continue to deepen into or work on the things that the transformation that you've helped them create for themselves? How can you just keep continuing to do this? And so I know a lot of people have some feelings about like, well, like we're not done with the program yet. It just feels kind of weird, like talking to them about the next thing. But we also really want to remember that this is like sales is a service, right? So if we know that we have created something that is going to support them, that's going to help them deepen into the work where they're going to see even longer lasting results or have bigger breakthroughs, then that's literally our job, is to tell them how they can keep getting these results and how they can keep working with us. And it's so important to work through that own discomfort on your end so that you can continue to build this relationship and really nurture these longer term relationships with your clients. Having excellent customer service, being available to your client. And I'm not talking about like bending over backwards so it's inconvenient for you, but really prioritizing your clients and their customer experience, and how can you make this better for them? How can you make things easier for them to access? How can you get feedback from them and then implement the feedback that you're getting? How can you maintain regular communication with them to really build and foster that relationship and to foster that loyalty? So maybe it's also creating, one thing that I do in my business for my group programs is I have alumni pricing. So if you've joined Anti-Hustle Biz School or Business Unleashed, they're one of the same. I rebranded and renamed. Any client who comes back for another round, they only pay $299 for the whole 4-month program, right? So originally it's anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, depending if you get there for early bird. But if you join a second time, it's only $299 total, because I know that clients need to hear the same thing over and over and over again, right? And maybe they're not ready to move into that next level of investment if it's the mastermind or into one-on-one. And so they can still be coached by me, watch me coach people, get valuable information. And every round is going to be different. I mean, the core information that you're learning is the same, right? But sometimes we need to hear like those simple strategies over and over again so that they like lock in and we fucking get it finally. But then, each round, people are going to bring different coaching requests. There's going to be a different vibe and a different energy. And so they get to be part of that for $299. So that's one way I've created like more loyalty with my clients. Another thing is I offer legacy pricing. So if you are in the mastermind or if you're in one-on-one, if you keep renewing, then you keep getting legacy pricing. And, so I have mastermind clients who got in at last round's pricing, or they have extended payment plans, or right, things, maybe like things that I didn't do this round. So that's something that you could implement too. And also, just because you do legacy pricing for a couple rounds doesn't mean that you're not allowed to raise your rates. You can still let them know if it doesn't feel good anymore to keep them at the legacy pricing, to bump everybody up to your current rate. And that's something that you get to do. But you get to make the rules. That's the cool part about this, is that you are the boss. And so you get to make the rules. So number 2, with what to be focusing on the back end of your business, is really streamlining your operations and systems. So this is really looking at the tools and the systems that you can start to implement that automate routine tasks. This really starts to improve your efficiency, and it also enhances and increases your productivity. So one example of this would be your onboarding sequence or process. This is something, if it's not automated, it fucking takes forever. And like, especially if you're onboarding people, like one after another, if you're at the point where you are running a group program and you don't have systems automated, fucking get in the mastermind. We'll get you sorted. There's literally no reason, if you have a one-on-one business, or if you have a like one-on-one program and you have a group and your programs or your onboarding isn't automated and systematized, then we need to help you, because this is not a way to run your business that's efficient, and it's not going to allow you the space in your calendar and in your like bandwidth to be able to scale and grow your business and make more money. So one of the things that I have brought in for this round of the mastermind is my business manager, Hannah, will be leading a monthly office hours for the whole mastermind, for you to get your questions answered, get your questions answered about how to automate routine tasks, how to like what systems to use, that if you have, let's see, Squarespace and Acuity, like how do I link these together? How do I create an onboarding sequence that is streamlined and makes sense? So this is where you're going to get all of your back end business support in one place, because this is where people get tripped up. It's where they like waste way too much time, especially if this isn't like, if you're a health coach or a relationship coach and you're spending time trying to figure out Dubsado, or you're trying to like, you're taking classes so that you can figure out how to put a Thinkific portal together, that is not what you should be spending your time on. There comes a point in your business where you start to be making more money. So I will say this, there's a point in your business where you have more time than money. So you have to DIY things and bootstrap things. And sometimes it also means like not having a fucking portal and just using Google Docs or using your Squarespace website. I bootstrapped it and DIY'd it for a long, long time. I can tell you how to do all of that. And then when you're ready, when you have the money, you can hire somebody to then put all of this shit together for you, right? But you don't need, and also people think that they need different platforms way earlier than they actually need them. Like if you're just starting out, you do not need Kajabi. If you're just starting out, you don't need like a super robust CRM system or software. That's because there's a price tag with it. And oftentimes the money that you're making needs to be going into your pocket or paying for a coach or paying for support, not paying for a fucking website and all of this like major like CRM that like chances are you don't even know how to use it, or you don't even have the people in your community or in your pipeline that would even like necessitate that robust of a system, right? So use MailerLite, use Acuity, use like put your website on like Wix or Squarespace and fucking call it a day, get hired, make your money, and then start to see where you can change some of your systems, right? But the biggest thing is that what can be streamlined what can be automated, and what is your investment level? Does it need to be DIY'd or maybe in Google Docs or in Google folders? Or are you at the level where you have the money, you can hire somebody to do this stuff for you? There's a difference, right? So essential pod, making 0 to 5K. We're going to talk about bootstrapping and how to really do this easy, set it and forget it. And then once the money's coming in and you're in the expansion pod, then we'll talk about, which is this 5 to 15K. Then we'll talk about who can you hire? Maybe it's just like a project based. You don't have to have somebody on staff. But what can we start to do to get things taken off your plate? Because this is how you're going to scale your business. If you are spending too much time working on shit that you hate doing, it's draining your time, you're doing the same tasks over and over again, you're not going to have the bandwidth. And this is also just like a mood killer too. You're not going to be super stoked to be like working on or in your business because you're doing a ton of shit that you hate doing. Most people just want to fucking coach. Most people just want to work with their clients. They don't want to be doing this stuff behind the scenes. And some of it has to be done. Like you have to be able to get paid. You want to be sending out newsletters. You want to be tracking your leads and all of this, right? And so when you are at the place where you can hire somebody, it frees up a ton of time. And this is where you hear people saying like, oh, I only work this many hours a week. It's because they have a fucking team handling everything else. If I was like, I've been doing this so long that like, I don't even want to run a business without a team anymore because it's fucking hard, right? So when you have a team to take all this stuff off of your plate, you have all of this time, this free time, and then you get to decide how you want to use this time. Do you want to take more clients? Maybe now you have the time to create the program. Do you want to fill that time up with a hobby? Maybe you don't want to fill the time up at all. Maybe you just want to like rest and lay in a hammock and read a book and you're happy with your client load. Fucking great. Like I love hearing that. But streamlining your operations and systems is a must if you want to grow and build your business and eventually scale yourself out of the business in a way that things were working because your team's doing them. And then you get to do all of the like fun coaching, workshops, book tours, events, speaking engagements, all of those things, because that you can't outsource that. All this other shit you can outsource and have somebody else do. Okay. So then the third piece, which goes along with the sales funnel, which I talked about earlier, is developing scalable offers and pricing models. So this is where you want to be looking ahead at what you're creating and thinking about how can you create scalable programs and pricing models, pricing structures that allow you to serve more clients where they are in their lives and financially without overwhelming their wallets and their resources. So this is where you can create group programs. If your audience is big enough, you can create like a membership program or a membership site, digital products that can help you create reoccurring revenue. And this is where like, oh, I make money while I'm sleeping, right? So this is really how you can leverage your expertise and create different levels of engagement and different levels of services at different price points, so that you start to build and scale and grow, but you don't necessarily have to be involved. So for example, I'll just use Biz School again. We rebranded, which means that I also changed some of the modules. So I reshot all of the videos and freshened up the content, freshened up the workbooks. And so I'll probably set like let this be for maybe, I don't know, probably like another 2 rounds. So that means for another 2 years, I don't have to reshoot modules. I literally, when I launch this, I only have to show up for the launch. There's so much content that we could repurpose all of it. I could do some Facebook Lives. We would just repurpose newsletters, send it all out, right? I would send out the alumni emails, and alumni would show up and sign up, and then new people, right? And all I have to do is show up for the calls once a week for 90 minutes. Like, talk about leveraging the program, right? So oftentimes with these, there is some work to be done in the front end of it. But then once you're done shooting those modules, you can set that for, I mean, indefinitely, right? The reason that I wanted to reshoot them was is vanity part of it. My hair was quite different. I've moved, and some of the stuff like that, people were saying like, oh, I saw that you said this in the video and I had questions about it. I was like, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't teach that anymore. That doesn't like align with how I run my business. So I wanted to reshoot the videos to make sure that they were actually current of what I believe and what I teach. And when you learn new things, you do things differently and you outgrow like old way of doing things. And so that's why I reshot them. So you could, I could turn this into part of a module potentially, right? And then this could be a video that we create a bundle for, and then we put the bundle on my sales page, and I don't have anything to do with it. But when people go to my website, they can see, oh, there's a bundle talking about getting to your first 6 figures. And there's 4 different videos that I've done in the past. And maybe I'll create like a little workbook or worksheet for them. And then you just like package it up. It's $97. And then people can just go on your website and buy that. So there's lots of different ways that you can do this. But it doesn't have to be super difficult. You could create even if it's just like your promo event for a program that you're doing, and you're like, that was so good. It was like a 90-minute masterclass and it was so fucking good. And you're like, you can't just like live for free somewhere. Like this is like really good and I want to sell this. And so you would just pull that down off the internet, upload it onto YouTube, and make it like a $97 offer on your website or whatever, right? There's lots of ways to do this. So I hope that was helpful. All of this stuff is what we're working on in the mastermind, like I said. So if you have been thinking about it, if you've been on the fence, this is the time to hop in. There are 2 spots left in the essential pod. So if you're making 0 to 5K, and there are 5 spots left in the expansion pod, if you're making 5K and into 10 and 15K a month. If you're kind of on the fence, not sure which one you should join, send me a message. I'm happy to hop on a call with you and help you figure out which one would feel best. But there's different price points for each of the pods, because you get monthly one-on-ones with the expansion pod, and then you get 2 one-on-ones in the essential pod, in the smaller pod, or the like 0 to 5K. But there's lots of goodies, lots of bonuses. There's lots of calls and training, and I've changed so much for this round and added lots of goodies that will help you and support you throughout your whole business. So no matter where you are, and you'd get access to different conversations. You get access to people who are further along than you, so that you can be like, okay, now I know. And you can start to see how higher level businesses work and operate. And it's really inspirational, actually, because you can be like, oh, like I'm on the right track. I know where I'm going. That's exactly what I want to be doing. And so it is also a place to give you peace of mind, so that you can like have a roadmap and really start to see, like, I finally see how my business can work. And there's nothing better than that, when you don't feel like you're just like going at this alone, or where you're like, I know that I want to be making this much money, but I don't know even how how that would happen, or like how I could even do that. The mastermind, I'll teach you. This is where you figure that out. So send me a message and we'll hop on a call, or we can just chat in the DMs if you want. But I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know if this was helpful. If you want more information about this, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I will see you next Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern for the weekly anti-hustle business training in Reclaim Your Wild. Bye.